Rich kid versus poor kid. Who is more likely to become a footballer? Two boys have the same dream. On the left, one boy stands on cracked concrete with an old, damaged football. On the right, another boy stands on perfect green grass with a brand new ball. One has torn shoes. The other has new boots. One trains under gray clouds in a poor neighborhood. The other trains under bright sunlight in a modern football academy. But they both want the same thing. They both want to become professional footballers. So here is the question. Who has a better chance? The poor kid on the left or the rich kid on the right? Most people want to say, the poor kid. Because the poor kid looks hungrier. He looks like he has more to fight for. He looks like football is his only way out. And maybe that is true. But while the poor kid may have hunger, the rich kid has access. And in football, access can change everything. On the left, the poor kid may have only one old ball. On the right, the rich kid has cones, training ladders, new balls, clean boots, and a private coach. On the left, the poor kid learns by playing in the street. On the right, the rich kid learns in a structured academy session. On the left, nobody explains every mistake. On the right, a coach corrects every movement. This does not mean the rich kid is more talented. It means he has more support. And support matters. Football is often called the most democratic sport in the world. On the left, a poor kid can start with just a ball and a street. On the right, a rich kid can start with a field, a coach, and a full training plan. Both can begin. But beginning is not the same as becoming professional. That is the difference. The poor kid can play. The rich kid can enter the system. And professional football is not only about playing. It is about being developed, tested, selected, and seen. On the left, the poor kid may be very talented, but he plays where nobody is watching. On the right, the rich kid may be less talented, but scouts and coaches are standing beside the pitch. And this is one of the most important truths in football. Talent does not matter if nobody sees it. A scout cannot discover a player who never plays in the right tournament. A coach cannot develop a player who cannot afford the academy. A young player cannot improve properly if he misses training because his family has no transport. So on the left, the poor kid may have talent, but on the right, the rich kid has visibility. And visibility can become opportunity. Now the poor kid also has advantages. On the left, he plays in small spaces. On the right, the rich kid trains on a wide, perfect pitch. On the left, the ball bounces badly. On the right, every pass rolls smoothly. On the left, the poor kid plays against older, stronger players. On the right, the rich kid trains with players his own age. On the left, the game is chaotic. On the right, the game is controlled. And this chaos can create something special. It can create creativity. The poor kid has to improvise. The rich kid has to follow instructions. The poor kid has to solve problems instantly. The rich kid often has time to listen, repeat, and correct. The poor kid learns to protect the ball in tight spaces. The rich kid learns technique in perfect conditions. Both are learning football, but they are learning different football. On the left, football is survival, creativity, pressure, and instinct. On the right, football is structure, coaching, repetition, and planning. And both can be powerful, but raw talent is not enough. On the left, the poor kid may dribble past 5 players in the street, but no coach records it. On the right, the rich kid may make one simple pass, and 3 adults write it down. On the left, the poor kid may have incredible ability, but no pathway. On the right, the rich kid may have average ability, but many pathways. That is the hidden difference. One has talent that may never be seen. The other has access that keeps opening doors. Now let's talk about money. On the left, one family counts coins and worries about academy fees. On the right, another family pays for training without thinking twice. On the left, the poor kid may miss a trial because there is no transport. On the right, the rich kid arrives on time in a comfortable car. On the left, the poor kid eats whatever is available after training. On the right, the rich kid eats a planned athlete meal. On the left, an injury can stop everything. On the right, an injury means doctor, physiotherapist, recovery plan, and another chance. This is not just about comfort. This is about survival in the system. The rich kid can fail and try again. The poor kid may fail once and disappear. For the rich kid, rejection is painful. For the poor kid, rejection can be the end of the dream. Because the rich kid can join another club. The poor kid may not afford another trial. The rich kid can get private coaching. The poor kid may have nobody to correct him. The rich kid can travel to tournaments. The poor kid may only watch from behind the fence. This is the hidden power of wealth. Money does not buy talent, but money buys more attempts. And in football, more attempts mean more chances to be discovered. But we should be careful. The rich kid does not automatically win. On the left, the poor kid may be obsessed. On the right, the rich kid may be comfortable. On the left, the poor kid may practice late at night under a weak streetlight. On the right, the rich kid may sit in a beautiful room surrounded by football equipment, but still lack hunger. Money can buy boots. It cannot buy obsession. Money can buy a coach. It cannot buy courage. Money can buy a perfect pitch. It cannot buy creativity under pressure. Money can buy a tournament entry. It cannot buy the ability to perform when everyone is watching. At the highest level, football does not care who is rich and who is poor. It does not care who had better boots. It does not care who had a nicer house. It only cares who can play. But the problem is this. To reach that highest level, you first need a real chance, and not every talented kid gets one. On the left, there may be a poor kid with professional level potential, playing where nobody watches. On the right, there may be a rich kid with more support, more chances, and more visibility. So who has the better chance? The honest answer is, the rich kid usually has the easier path, but the poor kid may develop qualities that are extremely valuable. The rich kid has access. The poor kid may have hunger. The rich kid has coaching. The poor kid may have creativity. The rich kid gets more chances. The poor kid may fight harder for one chance. But scientifically, the biggest advantage is not simply being rich or poor. The biggest advantage is having the right system around you. A system that gives you training, games, support, recovery, confidence, and visibility. Because talent does not grow alone. Talent needs an environment. And that is the sad truth about football. On the left, talent may be everywhere. On the right, opportunity is easier to reach. The next great footballer may not be the kid with the cleanest kit. He may be the kid with the old ball, playing on cracked concrete, waiting for someone to notice. Talent is everywhere. Opportunity is not. And the future of football depends on making sure that talent does not stay invisible